The first time I uploaded this video, it got blocked because of copyright since there's too much footage of Fight Club in it. Here's our new friend. He will appear in front of the footage whenever there's any movie footage in this video to prevent whatever happened last time. Now watch the video. Hi there, welcome back to another YouTube video, and lately I've been feeling a bit sad to really do anything. Now, I can't tell if it's the YouTube burnout or something, but, yeah, I feel like to reflect the state I'm in right now, I am going to talk about do more movies, according to this guy on IMDb. Basically, the kind of movies that are talked about, these kind of people that I put under the same umbrella as Andrew Tate. And I really hate Andrew Tate. I still haven't moved on from the manosphere stuff. It's 2026 and I'm still talking about them. Also, almost all of these movies are rated R, by the way, just so you know. This movie is very interesting for some, but very weird and doesn't make any sense for many. So this movie is a bit like Stranger Things, no, it's stranger than Stranger Things. Now, I've been trying to talk about this movie because I have to explain the plot. Okay, basically the plot of the movie is that we got our main character who is named after the movie, who's basically some kind of like troubled teen who like hates his parents or something, but then one day he has a dream where a guy in a bunny suit tells him that the world will end in about 28 days, something hours. I don't really remember the rest of the details. So as Donnie Darko, our main protagonist, was sleeping, a jet engine out of nowhere was like crashed into his bedroom when he wasn't there, which means that he dodged death. And now this movie is about the end of the world, and Donnie has to do whatever the scary bunny Frank tells him to, like flying to school, burning some dude's house down, other things, grab his dad's gun, I don't know. All the while, Daniel Darko is balancing a relationship with a girl that he just met who seems to be just as troubled as he is because her dad stabbed her mom like 4 times and is dealing with foster parents. We also got Jim Cunningham over here who is infiltrating the school that Donnie attends because he's a megachurch Scientology weirdo. And it's found out that he's even more of a weirdo because the guy who keeps trying to shill his self-help books is also an EDP, to put it lightly. Also, we got an old lady named Despero who seems to be dementia-ridden because she keeps revisiting the same old mailbox with nothing in it. But turns out she wrote a book which conveniently explains the plot details of this movie and talks about time travel and stuff, and I still don't know what is going on. And then we get to the ending. This is where things start to get crazy. So everything's looking up, okay? Her older sister just got into Harvard. Her younger sister with her dance mom's crew is about to fly to LA. Donnie is hosting a Halloween party at his house because his parents aren't here, because of course. And the world is about to end in one day. And during this Halloween party, Donnie then realizes that he has to go to the old lady's house through the cellar door for some reason. Also, his 2 other friends from high school tag along, and his girlfriend. I don't know, the 2 bullies jump Donnie and his girlfriend and chase away the 2 other doofuses of friends that Donnie has. Then a red car shows up and the 2 guys holding knives run away. And then Donnie's girlfriend gets ran over by a guy in a clown costume. Then Frank, in the flesh, shows up acting all surprised and stuff. And then Donnie shoots Frank. And then comes the next morning. The morning the world ends, there's a hole in the sky, a massive gaping black hole that's about to eat everyone up. The same plane that Donnie's little sister and his mom are in goes down in the storm. And Donnie smiles at this, knowing that this is ticket all the way back home. The vessel being the jet turbine that was the same thing that destroyed his house. So he rewinds time, goes all the way back to let himself die through the jet turbine. Now, because whatever just happened throughout the entire movie was what this movie calls a tangent universe, everyone remembers what happened, but are just back where it all started. And Donnie's dead too, and his family are destroyed by it. So yeah, that was Donnie Darko. Even though the movie doesn't make much sense, it's kind of fun to overanalyze myself. The impression I have of this movie so far from other people is that it's another one of those film snob movies, the kind of movies where it doesn't make sense for the average person, but the film nerd is very obsessed with it. One critique I have about this movie is that our main character, even though he's a depressed little boy or something, he really has no agency in the story. He's sort of just sleepwalking his way throughout the movie, figuratively and literally speaking. The music is great, nice selection of 80s music. Good choice. Especially that one song that plays in the Halloween party that goes something like, "Oh, it will tear us apart." I really like that song. It resonates to me in a deeper level. The depressed self of mine. And after watching this movie, I was surprised to find out that, that Mad World song, I was like, huh, well, this is where it comes from. It's a remix of some it's a cover of some Tears for Fears song originally. And okay, what else can I say about this movie? It exists, I guess. Oh yeah, why I like this movie is because of the atmosphere. It's not nothing really that grotesque happens, but the whole thing is just kind of mundane and eerie at the same time. Amount of fan art, 27 Google pages worth of results. Amount of TikTok edits, approximately 18 Google pages worth of them. Also, I forgot to explain that each one of these movies, how I explain how much of the cultural zeitgeist these movies have on the younger generation. I'll use it by counting how many TikTok edits I see and how many fan art I see of these movies. I didn't explain at the start of the video because I'm trying to rush out these videos like how commentary videos pump out videos every day because I think it'll give me more views and subscribers. Okay. Let's see how many views my latest short has. Right. It has 400 views so far. Fight Club comes from the same director of Seven. Yeah, that David Fincher. I haven't watched Seven, but I have watched this movie. This movie is very famous in the Alpha Sigma Manosphere crowd for its character Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, for being a rebellious anarchist who hates the status quo and capitalism and blows up banks and does really cool stuff like that. That's pretty much the only reason why they like this movie. Alright, scratch that. What's this movie about? Alright, so we got our nameless protagonist, who some people refer to as the narrator, but I don't remember seeing anyone referring to him as a narrator in the movie itself, even though I heard people say that's what happens in the movie. His problems consist of, but not limited to, insomnia. His friend is growing man boobs in therapy seminars. His job sucks, and he's very tired. He's driftless into life, and his only motivation is buying furniture at IKEA. But then everything changes when he meets Tyler Durden on a flight. We also got our love interest, whom I forgot the name of. Okay. Oh yeah, Marla Singer. And just like that, Tyler and the narrator become best friends, committing crimes with each other and stuff. But before we get to that, Tyler showcases the narrator to a secret underground fighting ring, accepting him as a new recruit, calling it the Fight Club. And since every man around the city is so desperate for some semblance of meaning and purpose, they flock to that in droves, happily beating each other up. Now by night, he runs his underground fighting ring located at a bar, but during the day, he is an entrepreneur selling soap bars to fat rich ladies. But the soap bars aren't just for money, they're also for bomb making. Because as his influence starts to get bigger, Fight Club goes from an underground fighting ring to an underground organization. And then the narrator sees some cracks that start to show. The recruits are becoming more and more robotic. Basically like cult members. Marla has a love-hate relationship with Tyler, and then it's revealed the narrator this whole time was actually Tyler Durden, and Tyler Durden, the person he was talking to, isn't real, just a figment of his imagination. And having the Fight Club a team of blowing up buildings, corporate art, and other stuff, it's all been leading to Tyler's magnum opus yet, Project Mayhem, where he will send 8 vans filled to the brim with explosives to blow up all of the major banks in the city, to do, in his own words, an economic reset. But the narrator, who is or is not Tyler Dorman, but also is some imposter syndrome stuff, is against this idea, because even though he hates being a minimum wage slave, doing this is a bit too overboard, because our main character, doing his best to prevent this catastrophe from happening, his alter ego catches him in the act while he's trying to defuse one of the bombs. But since all of Tyler's recruits think that the narrator is Tyler, and now that Marla thinks he's Tyler, even the highest of authorities can be secretly a part of Fight Club, and since they know when he's not acting like Tyler, they will be against him and try to cut his balls off. That's also what they do to everyone else who don't agree with them. Forgot to mention that. Now that we got all those plot details all the way, we are at the final course, Tyler and the narrator are at a skyscraper 2 minutes away from all the major banks blowing up, and the narrator can't do a single thing about it. And after a very close scuffle with his alter ego, and him being held at gunpoint by his own alter ego, the narrator manages to grab the gun and uses it to incapacitate himself, getting rid of Tyler. Well, for now. Anyways, Marla and the main character reunite on the skyscraper as they watch all the major banks get blown up right in front of them, which our main character responds to: Marla, you met me at a very weird time in my life. So yeah, that was Fight Club. As a movie, it's a very thrilling adventure with suspense and drama and a good amount on commentary about social issues, which is what I like. I really love talking about social issues. But it's deeper than that. It can also be a cautionary tale about how starting a movement against a social issue, or doing something like that, can go too far and might make things worse than you've actually left it off. But that's how I see it anyways. I'm not correct. Everything I say here is wrong. Amount of fan art, 27 Google pages worth of them. Amount of TikTok edits, 36 Google pages worth of them. Wanna be rich? Wanna be strong? Wanna escape the 9 to 5? Then join the War Room today. Welcome to the War Room, everyone. Now, I'm sure you've signed up to leave your consumerist lifestyle behind. First rule of the War Room: do not talk about the War Room. Second rule of the War Room: do not talk about the War Room. Third rule of the War Room: if you're from California, get out. Fourth rule of the War Room: we were only expecting real men. No Twitter feminists, no they thems, none of that sissy, kind, straight, white male. Fifth rule of the War Room: fuck TikTok. Sixth rule of the War Room: no shoes, no shorts, just straight burly brawling. Seventh rule of the War Room: delete YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, and all of your other social media apps, but listen to us, and only us, through You Found Us through social media apps. Eighth rule of the War Room: a fight will only end once someone is begging, pleading for you on their last breath, tells you to stop. Ninth rule of the War Room: your nofap streak needs to be at least 2 weeks long before entering a fight. 10th rule of the War Room: if this is your first time in the War Room, you're gonna die. Any questions? Man, I suck at this. I thought being an influencer was easy. I have an entire folder on my computer dedicated to parodies of the Falling Down movie poster. There is so many of them. This is just scratching the surface. Now, this movie is very political. Well, perhaps the most political movie I'll be talking about today. It tackles various social issues like systemic racism, inflation, wage gaps, homelessness, and even more. And that's a whole other can of worms that I just do not want to get into. This movie was directed by Joel Schumacher, the same Joel Schumacher who directed Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And it's great to know that he also made other movies like this one. The gist of the plot is basically we got our main character, Michael William Defense Foster Douglas, who's just trying to get back home to his wife and kid. But since he's not willing to put up with traffic, he ends up walking back home himself, leading him through the more sketchy parts of LA, leading to him getting into a scuffle with the Mexican gang members, and other stuff like old guys playing golf that are very mean to him. A homeless guy who claims that he's a veteran to try to see what's in his briefcase. A really bad fast food restaurant whose food isn't as advertised. And many other wild stuff happening. Meanwhile, his wife doesn't want him to come back home as she's already put a restraining order on him, so he's not her husband anymore. The other plot is about a cop who's on his last day on the job and is about to retire. But the cop, seeing the crime spree that William Foster seems to be causing, tries to track down this guy, following his path of destruction by interviewing the crime witnesses and looking at his weird license plate on the car that just says Defense. All of this eventually cascades on the pier, where Defense and Prendergast have a final showdown at the pier, where Defense manages to trick the cop into shooting him by making him think that he's gonna pull out a real gun, but ends up just pulling out a water gun. Yeah, he's dead now. You really can't talk about the movie without taking into account of the political context at the time. And, yeah, this movie was kind of depressing. I don't want to talk about this anymore. What else can we talk about? Yeah. I got it. The entire movie has this, like, Michael Bay sunburn to tint on it, which really helps sell the fact that this is LA and it's a really hot day and stuff. And I'd say in its portrayals, it's actually pretty tasteful, as the movie is about the average working man's life being corrupted and falling apart because of systemic changes and societal norms and stuff, okay? Showcasing the decay and deterioration of class in modern-day American lifestyles. Also, I forgot to mention the main character is a Vietnam veteran in this movie. Okay, you really have to watch the movie yourself. I'm not gonna spoon-feed it to you, alright? This enough. Amount of fan art, 25 Google pages worth of them. Amount of TikTok edits, 12 of them. Freeze! You're under arrest! Elizabeth Gavin, go on! Freeze! What are we gonna do? I don't know what I was gonna do. Oh God, it's like you always say you don't know what you're gonna do until you do. I know exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna kill your wife and child. Yeah. And then it's too late to turn back because you turned the gun around yourself. Now let's go meet some nice policemen. Good guys, come on, let's go. I'm the bad guy? Yeah. How'd that happen? I did everything you told me to. Did you know I built missiles? Yeah. I helped to protect America? You should be rewarded for that. Instead of giving it to the plastic surgeon, but I'd like to, man. Is that what this about? You're angry because you got lied to? Is that why my chicken dinner is drying out in the oven? Hey, they lie to everybody. They lie to the fish. But that doesn't give you an excuse to do what you did today. The only thing that makes you special is that little girl. Let's go. Let's go! Sure is hot today. You know, I got a gun. In my pocket. Got lots of guns. Don't move. On draw. Let's not. Let's call it a day. Come on. It's perfect. Showdown with the sheriff and the bad guy. It's beautiful. On three. This doesn't have to be the end, Joe. We have a choice. My little girl said I didn't have a choice. We have the choice. Oh, you have two choices. I can kill you. You can kill me. And my little girl. With me. Don't you want to see your daughter grow up? Behind bars. Two. Don't do this. Let's go! Three. I would have got you. I'm sorry I couldn't fall into the pool for real. I don't want my clothes to get wet. Jeez, that was so intense. The Matrix is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you play my games, you would get the influence. It's known for being one of the movies being able to popularize wire fu, a Chinese filmmaking technique. And ever since The Matrix, action movies have not been the same since. It's also where the red pill, blue pill terminology comes from, unofficially being coined via the alpha male manosphere bros as some sort of marketing technique of escaping the 9 to 5. Anyways, I don't even know where to start with this movie. Let me think. Oh yeah, I guess I could try recapping the plot since I can't think of anything else yet. So we follow our main character, Thomas Anderson, who's living alone in some rundown, busted-out apartment. Actually, the movie begins with a police chase where the police are trying to hunt down a hacker named Trinity, and also the agents get involved. And during this scene, we find out that the agents and Trinity herself, are capable of doing impossible human feats, like jumping across buildings from... Anyways, the movie begins with our main character, Thomas Anderson, who seems to be living a very boring and unfulfilling life, until he gets his calling through an anonymous text message on his computer that tells him to follow the White Rabbit. That text message seems to have very convenient timing, as the second it says knock knock, someone actually knocks on his door. And it's some dude named, Choi, from what I remember. Basically, through a simulacra and simulation movie reference, he manages to give Choi the money for an offer, and also takes the invite of his birthday of a party, because someone has a tattoo of a white rabbit on their shoulder. It's an Alice in Wonderland reference. There's an Alice in Wonderland reference thrown in there too. No, there isn't. I'm talking about a different scene. And through this party of loud music and pole dancers is when he meets Trinity, the same person who he's been like reading about, and the same person we saw at the beginning of the movie. He comments that he thought Trinity was a dude the whole time. Trinity says, "Oh, a lot of people do." Blah 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 something. Right when things start to get interesting, it was all a dream, or was it? Next morning, Thomas Anderson is late for his dead-end wage slave job at Mega Tech Corp, Amazon, Apple, Verizon, whatever, it's called Meta Cortex or something, whose boss wants to make it extra clear that I don't know, is disappointed in Thomas Anderson's performance at work. If the company has a problem, then everyone has a problem. This movie is so long, man. It's like 3 hours long, and I have to... Well, long story short, Neo finds Morpheus. Morpheus frees Neo from the Matrix, and Neo freaks out a bunch. A bunch of training ensues until Morpheus is under the possession of Agent Smith. So Neo and Trinity go to save Morpheus via lots of gunfighting and close counters and stuff. Neo finally becomes the one as he discovered his hidden Matrix powers near the end of the movie during a fight scene with Agent Smith in the subway. The movie ends with Neo flying into the camera, claiming that wishing for a new world without any boundaries and stuff. Okay, yeah. Within the context of the Matrix, the evil Sentinel robots uses humans as a source of energy, which is why they keep them in the Matrix, to keep them controlled and confined so that they can serve the robots forever after the sky got nuked. Beneath all the leather suits and the spectacular action sequences is a very open-ended and deep movie, which can go anywhere you would want it to. It could be a trans allegory, or about job markets, or what is free will, or what is your idea of free will, and other philosophical ideas that this movie explores. Why I like this movie is because since it justifies its runtime and it has such an interesting premise, the stakes are real, it leaves for an enjoyable watch that keeps me thinking about it weeks or even months after I'm done watching it. The cast is amazing. I could not imagine any other actors portraying these characters. The special effects are very well done, and so is the choreography. And it is so grand in its scope and its scale, despite having basically like two locations, like the Matrix and the Mothership. The characters are amazing, especially like the ship crew. I can almost remember every one of their names and how they were, even though most of them end up dying off in the movie tragically. And also, I'm so sick and tired of having to do the same song and dance over and over again, but thankfully we got one last movie to talk about. Amount of fan art, 27 Google pages worth of them. Amount of TikTok edits. Just kidding, here's an article on Vox ATL about the dangers of the incel epidemic, black pill ideology, and how it impacts young men that I'm going to read verbatim and change nothing about it other than adding my own voice to it. Boom, there's a plot twist of the century. Monotony creates uncertainty. Have you ever just stared at it? Have you ever just marveled at its simplicity? Millions of people just tuning in to this garbage. Brain rotted, stupid. Like, seriously, what are the kids watching these days? I really don't get this. What better way to end off this video than with American Psycho? This movie walked so that Sigma males could run. Truly the Doomer movies of all Doomer movies. What was a controversial film at the time of its release eventually got its second life through the early 2020s. It started out with memes, then TikTok edits, and eventually cascaded into full-on Sigma male, black-pilled ideology, terminology, unintentionally giving birth to this niche but dangerous subculture where some young and impressionable kids take the said dangerous ideologies that they apply from their favorite alpha male talking head into real life. And all of this stemmed from the movie that I'm talking about. It's been a while since I watched this movie, so I'm gonna watch someone else's review on it and then give my own take on it based on that reviewer's review. Okay, got my mind refreshed on an idea of a movie, so, let's talk about it. The movie is kinda confusing when you follow the plot. Our main protagonist is Patrick Bateman, who might seem like a super rich, hip, fly, cool dude, but in reality, he's fake. All of it is fake. He's a loser, and he's a serial killer too. I mean, the movie isn't called American Psycho for a reason. He hates his co-workers, he hates women, he hates anyone who isn't him, basically. And despite his very scary and suspicious behavior, no one seems to bat an eye. In fact, no one really cares. And that's one of the special things about this movie. You don't really know, like, a scene that happens in the movie, whether it takes place in real life or in just this dude's twisted imagination. But Patrick Bateman, like all of his other co-workers, are presentation first and personality second, or third, or fourth. What's in between? This all leads into a full-on mental breakdown of what I'm assuming, where what happens in the scenes is like him of an ATM telling him to give him a cat, and shooting a cop car and a police, and the cop car just explodes after he shoots it once, and after getting chased by like a helicopter, he confesses on the phone, and then the next morning, life goes on as if nothing happened. This movie is... it's interesting, if I'll say. I don't really know if I like it or not, but it's definitely well made, is what I will tell you about it. This movie is very good at highlighting how, despite how buff or rich you get, how hard you work, the commitment, how good you look, it's still about the personality that matters, and it sheds a light how even the most successful people are terrible people sometimes, and how hyperfixating on the superficial aspects of life can lead to a downturn in your mental health and how you perceive reality. Because once you finally made it in life, then what? Amount of fan art, 25 Google pages worth of them. Amount of TikTok edits. Well, there's so much of them that deserves not one compilation, but two on the same YouTube channel. Enough said. And the good news is that now I have enough footage from this video to make a Sigma edit of me. Oh, I have enough footage to animating in CapCut. Now, I'm sure you've signed up to leave your consumerist lifestyle behind. And how much of you control.
Welcome to Sigma City.
Concrete jungle, hey. I move like smoke, hey. No soft steps, hey. No words I spoke, hey. Build my path, hey.
So yeah, moral of the story, think for yourself, that's all I ask. Breathing in the dark, lying on its side. The ruins of the day, painted with a scar.